and it's broadcasting. Good evening. Yeah, Kathy and I just listened to a tape, and that's what we'll be talking about primarily. And I'm going to just share this like I need to take the time to do. Yeah, the tape consisted of word lessons. That's how we labeled word lessons in the class. And one of the first ones that was on the tape was regarding Soyoti, name that I used as a member of the class. But actually, um, let me do what I'm doing here. So I can't really concentrate at the same time on two different things.
Able to share it.
Oh, I wasn't, no. Okay, so I guess that's good. That's gone. I got too many Facebooks open. Oh, it looks like it worked that time. Twice before we couldn't get into X. All right, so
What was the date on that tape?
um, November 24th, 1987 was the date on the tape. Tape 276. And I do want to do my little biblical thing. Um, but I guess not a primary thing to do. But I do want to. Let me check the chat room. Sorry.
Did you post
Yes, I did. I think.
it?
Yep, yeah, I did. I did. Gotta pop out the chat.
Okay. No. Extract. Will you write your name from like?
Cyrus says, "Hey Sawyer and Kathy, how are
Oh,
you
we're
all
just
feeling?"
getting your book ready right now.
Oh,
Will you
okay.
just write Sawyer?
Can you sign it?
No, I just want you to write Sawyer right there.
Hmm.
This is the return address label. I just want you to have your name up there. Okay. and I'll fill the address out. That's good. Thank you.
Good. Thanks.
Yes, I'm putting the package together right now.
Yes. I got the book out this morning. Right? Wasn't it this morning?
Yes.
It's
Yes, to sign it.
it's not like it's a major deal, but it just takes,
It is for us.
you have to be right when you're old, it's it's a good excuse. It is to have things on your mind and on your time.
Oh, I know things that need to stick.
So let's see. I was wondering. It says, Osiris says, I was wondering how did the class deal with agitation inside the classroom?
Oh, this is perfect.
This is the perfect tape for that. Has there ever been a problem you can remember, and if so, how you all deal with it? Yeah, you would really get the greatest answer to that by listening to tape 274,
276.
76, 276. And you have to
Although
find it.
274 is a good tape too.
Yeah,
You don't need to go into that. They
yeah, you can
probably
find it.
already have.
There's a way to find it for free
Well,
somewhere.
I
So
guess
I'll just say that much. I can't really say any more
you
than
don't.
that. But I'll give you a synopsis. Definitely that'll be part of the. Let's see. I just want to see what else you said. Uh, and thank you. I appreciate both of you all very much, and take your time. Thank you. Awesome. The heavens align. Oh yeah, that's right. There's a alignment of the planets happening. It is there's a lot of intensity. It's no question about it. This world is a boiling pot of all kinds of challenges, really. I mean, it's and that's what you see in in the tapes. The amount of challenges that students were um, wanting and feeling so driven and so blessed and fulfilled by chasing after, by being there, staying there, and so that was the glue. It was just the knowing of that, and I guess which they help us have. That's part of what their minds provide when they're close to us physically.
Do you see something coming up in your screen there?
In the chat,
In your little camera there. Is there anything by your
got 5 individuals watching. Oh, look at that! You put a little older
Oh, you
member
can
over
see
there.
them.
That might be a sorority, maybe right now. Maybe sooner you can
I
hang on to
was
them.
doing it so because he's got
I
his
hope
feet
they
up in
do
the
and they keep
TV,
me on track.
so he's giving like you'll be able to see that in a second. Gosh, the lag. Wait, hold on. The party's I was gonna put him back. I was doing like the bunny ears behind your head.
Um, we're quite behind
Wait,
what
wait.
we see and what we do. This,
What's that?
oh, I see.
It's like an hour.
He's actually on my shoulder
Now
here.
wait. Hold on, I moved it.
Can I actually? I can move
No,
back. Okay.
yeah, you can.
All right. That's
But
fine.
wait. Cause it already. Never mind. I was trying to.
It still stays there when I go back and forth. but he's like right on my, looking at my ear.
See, he has his fingers up.
It's okay. It's okay.
See, he has his fingers up.
It's okay.
And so I was having that like behind your head, like he was giving you the bunny ears, you know, like when you're taking
Kathy would be a great set designer.
pictures of yourself.
When I first met her, and I was playing, doing some live stream music things. We'd go into a hotel because we were traveling, and we'd move everything around the whole hotel. All the furniture would get moved around, and trying this and trying that, and and putting up backdrops and stuff. And yes, we got to do that. We got to do a live stream. Yeah, where we're just having fun. I mean, it's fun to talk about the next level, but it's not the same kind of fun. Yeah, we do. We do fight a lot, but we're learning to not take it personal, I think.
Yeah, I think I've given away all of our. We need to make more flyers for the November thing.
Okay, let's see. Some others are just talking here, so I'll come in here and say, Zachary Clark, I hope you are well. It says, hope and pray your health is good thus far. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. I hope the same for you. And Osiris says, older member, smiling. He's making sure everything stays on track. Aha. Right. That would be the desire. You know, on track, of course, is relative to my capacity and Kathy's capacity to manage our. Yeah, being on track is, it's a big thing. It's like a. No, I know you're not saying that. Yeah. Well, I don't think that's the judge necessarily.
Anyway, I wasn't gonna talk at all.
You can. I
Right
wasn't
now.
trying to keep you from talking, babe. No, everything's fair game as far as, I mean, um, I mean, why wouldn't you want to have a partnership where you could disagree and even, have emotion with it and defensiveness and that's what you'll see in these lessons, these hard lessons. Defensiveness was one big one. Another one was pettiness. Um, and that's just going to what Cyrus was saying. That, like, for instance, examples of pettiness was when somebody would come out of the bath chamber late after the bath. We had 12-minute checks, so we were in the bath for 11 minutes and whatever seconds it took to get to standing in a certain spot to offer service for the minute, and that's where the idea of checks came from. That's a whole interesting story, I know. But see, so we had check partners for at that time. We didn't always have check partners. Everything we were doing, and so I'm getting off the track. I'm trying to paint a picture of the thinking there, but it's almost impossible to do, I guess, without a lot of words. They're not coming to me right now, but uh, people would, if you were complaining about something petty like that, and there was another example. What was the other example? That was petty.
Doing.
Oh, okay. Um, it's talking about procedures and that you would wait 3 times before you would bring it up. And he brought that up to the students. He thought that was the procedure for helping somebody else with something. That if you saw them doing something or you heard them saying something or there was a look on their face or whatever it was, and it occurred to you, you wondered about what they were thinking, um, um, you would, um, if they wanted you to, if they had asked you to, bring it to their attention. Okay, and so that they could examine it and see if it's something that they want to change based on our understanding of what the behaviors and ways were of members of the evolutionary level above human on their laboratories, on their spacecrafts, in their planet-sized laboratories, and so so the nuts and bolts of that was learning how to be a crew member. And so, and asking your older member on the spot is what a crew member does every time they come upon something that's a problem. And
Phone.
oh, sorry, I'm
That's
just
okay.
not thinking.
I'm gonna
I heard you, but I
do
didn't
that
register.
before I forget.
Okay, good. So this, was a training program indeed, and we wanted to be there, even many that left for a long time, even many years, wanted to be there because they were being offered something that they knew they instinctively knew was the greatest thing that there could be. And I think uh, problems that happen when we leave, is that we all come to terms with that in different ways, and that creates our own reality of it as well. Whatever that is. And so, I mean, the challenge would be to, always be seeking to go back to the pure teachings from the next level because they were pure. They were all about becoming pure beings in all ways, giving all their love, all their mind, all their thoughts, all their strength to their older member, their father in heaven. Jesus' teachings were exactly the same teachings in a previous classroom, previous grade in school to the graduation. More like the 11th grade as opposed to, or maybe it was the 10th grade. I don't know. I just got that correction in my head from T and O's mind, but uh, because that's even the grade that my high school started in. I don't know if all the schools in those days in the United States, started on the 10th grade or the ninth grade. Some had
Ninth when I was.
you had ninth. Yeah, so you could say it's the high school,
Yeah, high school was really.
right? So the high school, I guess, was Jesus, and the graduation into college is T and O, and college is becoming a member of the next level, and in one shape or a form or another, in whatever degree that the next level chooses to determine. our souls and spirits and or spirits are worth to them. I don't, worth doesn't mean some kind of profit and loss statement. It's not. It's not the worth. It's the worth of whether um, the individual can become a flower and can recognize the trunk of the tree and become a tree themselves. But the desire to become a tree themselves, like as if you're like the leader of a community or a leader of a country or world organizations and all that, is it's a choice, but it's a um, it doesn't get you beyond the human kingdom in the person's development because in order to appeal to the members from the evolutionary level above human, uh, uh, you have to have their overview,
A lot going on there
and you have to have their um, recognition of more. You'd have to be seeking the recognition of the next level, the highest beings we could imagine existing in the universe that created this planet and the life forms on it. Is the simplest way I know how to say it. But um, and it can all sound that all sounds that's kind of I guess kind of new agey terminology now, and it's not meant to be literal in some people's camps to have literal applications. And then so since I spout my opinions on this, um, well anyway it's what I can do. But let me get led by what's happening in the chat. I know I ramble. Right, flexibility is a big one, Osiris. Yes. Um, yeah, flexibility is one of the things that makes a good crew member. Yes, in other words, being tolerant of others, being, not, and so that's why Do actually put it into effect. Not saying anything to somebody uh, unless they repeat it like 3 times. So and the reason you would say it to somebody is because perhaps you do have something to say that they could improve upon. So they could then look at what happened in the bathroom and say, while they were taking a shower and doing whatever else they do in there for that little brief time that they had a slot for, uh, um, and thinking how to streamline that, or if it was an exception to that, and there was no punishment or anything for coming out of the BC at a time. So and there's no reason for anybody to say that to somebody. But if they do come, let's say the person keeps on doing it, right? Then uh, to be in the classroom, you'd want the input from somebody else on how to help change that. And so, to just assume that they have to get used to you being late, that's not a very good crew member. You really can't contribute 100% to the crew if that's what you want to do and that's what they want to do. It's like if you're a part of a big team, you've got a team spirit, you're feeling what it is like to work in the next level with somebody strictly on a mental basis, but a mental that also has feelings associated with it. Of course, all the feelings, because feelings aren't uh, they're they're actually substance. because everything's got substance, it seems like. Like with the plasma, form of matter and plasma like that Doe would talk about, the soul was composed of, and that spirit was composed of, and spirit being thinking, and radio transmissions, even on a frequency that humans don't know how to detect. Whole bands of things that we don't know that are happening around us, besides what the humans are creating and the space alien souls in their hybridized human vehicles are beaming down to us in the different ways that can happen. I mean, part of that beaming down is the fact that uh, those space alien souls did grow to have significant um, uh, soul development in order to be, you know, uh, in a next level crew doing a task for the next level of, even if it was as simple as and elementary as observing humans on the planet.
What is going on in the
Okay. So I did countless hours of research and ended up finding out about the flat earth, and that the Old Testament mentions it, and the dome above the earth, and above and everything. I have a huge conflict now, since I am very confused in how spaceships and space can exist in a flat earth environment. Maybe that's what is meant by evolutionary level above human, which is above the dome, and space starts above. Yes, I think it is true that that is, in my opinion, one of the best ways of thinking about that. That it above that we're in a dome kind of dome situation. It's a holodeck, it's a man. Uh, I don't mean manufactured. It's not manufactured. It's created because it's a development, something that's constantly developing. It's crazy. It's so enormous what we're talking about, and that we can even be talking about it is evidence of how good it is. And that we're allowed to become as rotten as we want to become, if somebody wants to become rotten by using deceit, manipulation, and things like that to get their way. And so it's like, we have the choice. That's how grand this system is. We can choose to become whatever we want to become. And if we don't ask the next level for help with that, then we don't get it. And we all ask in our own ways, at our own times, when we all feel like it. Whenever it is, it shouldn't become something that's just automatic, um, like Jesus said, vain repetition. And Doe talks about that in his tape, that there's, you can over do things with the status, with the suspect strike notes. And so let me see here. Flat Earth. I looked into that enough, I think, to figure out what they were talking about. I could see, how they were, putting things together in the Genesis, uh, to have different interpretations of what was above the firmament. Firmament is a word for something that's like a body, right? There's a firmament, this firmament above the earth, and the earth is firmament. And so, that's we. To me, I don't think we can limit the next level, the creators, to saying that the only firmament is this kind of definition of it. Because they could have a planet that's close to us that we don't feel hardly anything from on Earth, because they're just an observation post. Or maybe that's what they do with the moon. Maybe that's the real reason why they've been kind of putting the thoughts out, because the next level can do that. They can block humans from wherever they want to block them from. I'm not sure what the mechanics of all that is, uh, um, but I'm sure it's pretty interesting to watch them. I imagine. In fact, that's the first kind of task that you get is to observe. Anyway, so I know I got off the track when I was talking about the. Well, it's all right. I'm kind of like throwing out ideas, trying to jive, interface. Because why would I be doing this, right, if I wasn't trying to communicate better? But, well, okay, spaceships and space, um,
I would ask as far as the
I think there could be a flat Earth. I think that
I
could
would
be a
just
possibility.
ask yourself, like, let's look at the other celestial bodies that we can observe, and
That's good.
are they flat?
Right.
So ask yourself that. Are the other celestial bodies that you can personally observe with your very own eyes through a telescope, um, if you have that capability, you could probably go to a museum, observatory, and do that for free, or look at videos. But I'm just saying, like, if you really want to know 100%, go look at the celestial bodies that we can see, observable with our eyes through a telescope, and are they flat? And if the answer is no, which most things would point that the answer is no, those celestial bodies are not flat, then ask yourself, why would the Earth be the only celestial body that is flat? And how would a flat celestial body interact with all of the spherical celestial bodies that are out there?
Hmm. Yeah, and it's also the fact that we have cycles tells you that there's something happening here, and we can measure the cycles. The Earth, this whatever that body is that's above us that we picture as the moon. You can see contour in it. So it plays out the things that science has learned to see better when they knew that for a long, long, long time that the moon had all these contours and I mean hundreds of years anyway, maybe thousands, uh, uh, because you can see it and you could probably see it better when the atmosphere is not so polluted and who knows, uh, whatever, what's going
And
on down
and
there.
and then why? What would be the point? It's
Yeah,
like I
see,
always say that, like, I not that my opinion matters or anything. I absolutely love conspiracy theories. I will tell anybody that. But when it comes right down to it, like, ask yourself why. Like, all of they're like, oh, population control, they're going to kill us all, and there's only going to be 500,000 people left on the earth because that's the perfect population. That's what the Georgia Guidestone said.
right, right.
500,000 people, they are going to kill us all. It's like, okay, then who's going to pick up their shit for them to get graphic and disgusting and, right to it? Who's going to be their slaves? Who's going to be the people that they oppress? Whoever they is. In this system, there always has to be an oppressor and an oppressed. So the oppressors, it's just like the parasite can't, if it kills the host, then it dies too. Why kill us all, or even the
Good
majority of
example.
us? Like, we are the host.
We are the host.
They don't survive without us. So,
Right,
like,
and
we're picking up their trash.
right, and you can take
They're not
that.
going to do that.
You can even take that into the fact that in the human kingdom, we're surrounded by discarnates. invisible. I know it sounds crazy, but you know,
I know it
I
sounds
don't.
crazy.
I mean, it's like it makes sense actually to me, I guess, and I've it made sense to me. Always made sense to me, even though I didn't know how to describe why it made
Just
sense.
disagree on like
Because I know it was.
the name.
I wasn't even studying it in my youth, but I mean, when the first time I really had a sense that spirits could have some effect on our eyes and things was when this guy picked me up and he had a picture of one of his platoon in the war, and he said that the ones that were faded in the picture were the ones that died in his while he was there, and I didn't at the time I didn't think that's not possible. But I did wonder if it was if it happened for some other reason, that fading, but anyway, but it made sense to me that that was possible. Okay. I mean, and the way I thought about it later is that what if that individual is carrying that spirit with them that we were in that situation with, and so y- that could actually change your vision of that potentially because the spirits, the discarnates, do have a vibratory patterns. There's some form of organization to them in this plasma energy that's around us. And we know that we're in a sea of, of atmospheric everything, oxygen and all that. It's not, and so it could be, it could have different functions in relationship to that. It's kind of anyway, I'm just getting off on blabbing about it.
What's going
That's what I was looking at. I Am Loser says, I also found out the truth about Doe. It is really him. The word Old Testament contains old. Oh, I hadn't thought of that. Last letter and first letter is Doe. Oh, I see, yeah. And Testament, first letter is T. Huh. First and last letter, right? Of Testament is T. Wow. That's kind of fun. And yeah.
Sorry, bug zapping.
Has the word test, hence the flat earth dome is a testing ground. And that part of it's true. That if you want to think of the earth, however you want to think about it as a flat earth dome, or if you want to think about it in other descriptions, it is a test in ground for becoming a member of the next level. That's everybody could agree that we exist and we have choices in life, and so everybody's making their choices and becoming what they want to become, and they get lessons. And the more you take over your human vehicle, the more you're, I think, increasing your mind, increasing your uh, capacity to do more. Whether it's in the spirit world or I'm not saying that this is an aim that anybody would be taking. I don't think that way. But we're all, if we're in development, then we're growing. We potentially are going to get to the place to where we're going to be looking outside the earth for answers because other things aren't really giving us all the answers that we want. And when we do that and we project to the highest source we can imagine existing in the universe, uh, um, uh, they have a way to recognize that that's what we're asking for. They have lots of ways because it's all in degrees. But anyway, so and they give us ways of thinking about things, and those things are a lot of them maybe automatic, but but they're still purposeful and useful and can and if we embrace what we get by by responding to it in a positive way and trying to change whatever was troubling us before, and whether it was blaming somebody else for something or blaming ourselves for something, uh, and, um, all that negativity can get washed away from us. That's where the next level actually they give us enough of their energy so that uh, we can surmount and keep our heads above water from there, not sink and become something that even goes against them and their reality. I'm getting symbolic and all that, but uh, but I think all those things have their reality to them, a lot of reality to them, and that's what makes it. We make a really good science fiction movie, right? To all the things that T and Do were all about, you wouldn't have to have a science fiction movie if you took that and you didn't put the Heaven's Gate name on it and you put it out there. Um, I don't know what would happen to it. Just their story if you didn't give all the names that are associated with T and Do and made it into a mystery. So, There also says something on this is from Osiris, on the line of coming at any situation. It's always good to be flexible by adopting the attitude, I could be wrong. I forgot what Beyond Human Sessions, though, talked about that. Yeah, I'm not going to be very good in quoting chapter and verse in that regard, Cyrus. But, that's the good thing about if you can download the book from the Heaven's Gate website, which is in the bottom. There's a link, I think, in the bottom of that book page. You can download the Heaven's Gate uh, book there, which contains the Beyond Human series uh, um, transcripts. And so then you can use that. And it's in a text format. It comes in a zip file, and um, it's not that big. Uh, and and then you can search on keywords to try to answer some of your questions. And um, but uh, so that can give you if you haven't used that tool, just in case you haven't used that tool. But right. Um, I am loser says I am now 100% believer in Tiendo and I wish I could be joined the class, but I was born in 1986. Deep regrets. Thanks for the good answers, Sawyer. Well, I am loser. You are in the class if you want to be in the class right now with your vehicle, and you could be of great service to Tiendo's class, and at the same time be growing leaps and bounds by uh, just going out there and and learning everything you can about them and seeing if you believe in everything they're talking about. And if you and then see if you want to talk to somebody else about it. I don't know what you should do with it. Do nothing with it. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not converting anybody to anything. I'm not encouraging people to do anything uh, uh, to harm anybody else in any shape, way, or form. And to be accused of that is, is so childish.
Don't go off on a tangent.
So,
I mean, you
but
can't do
we
it if
get
you
we
want.
get that barrage sometimes. It doesn't have to be a lot. So I'm sorry, I'm just going off on that. But uh, yeah, it's a road to take. There's no sadness in not being born uh, in 1986. Not at all. There's, I don't. To me, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, if you feel that way, I mean that's your business, of course, to make it to feel that way. So I shouldn't have said it that way. It doesn't make any sense. Like you're stupid or something. I don't mean to say that. I'm sorry, but I just um, uh, um, uh, I guess the reason why I'm trying to tune into how to talk about that, I just don't want to discourage you from. No, I don't want to encourage or discourage you from anything. I just want people to do whatever they want to do with the Heaven's Gate information, and then I don't have anything to do with anybody. I'm not in it for the people or the attention. I'm doing it because I have to be a servant to my older member to whatever capacity I can at this point. So, which is a growing thing. It should be always growing. I just want to say that because it's not something you can just you can't assume anything. And you can see that in tape 276. You can't assume that you could be an interference in the classroom and that you should be allowed to stay in the classroom. Like if you're bringing thoughts about critical people for doing little tiny things, uh, you know, um, if that's becoming a vibration of disharmony, then you're an interference. And who knows how long somebody might be thinking about stuff like that when they're not
No,
expressing
you're
it.
talking about the group,
Yeah,
talking about the class. I just
yeah,
wanted to make that
talking
clear.
about it in the class.
Just wanted to make
In the
You weren't
in the
talking
real
about
world, I think
anybody in
it's
the chat.
potentially happening too, though, right?
I just didn't want anybody to get confused and think that you were talking about them in the chat or something.
Oh no, I wasn't talking about anybody in the chat, not at all. Yeah, thanks for that, Kathy. If in case that was coming across that way. No,
It probably wasn't. I just
I am loser saying you made me a believer in Team. No, I didn't. It's not possible for me to do that. I don't agree with you. Now, if you were listening to me and something I said uh, attracted you, then then you're picking up on you were basically better tuning into the same source that I am trying to tune into during some parts of my day. Um, so uh, it's not so whether it comes if it comes through me and because I say things that it's because I'm saying things that are I'm saying things that are from Tiendo's mind, even though I can't put it. I'm putting it in my own words a lot of times, and I'm using examples that aren't that good. But so that's what's really happening there, and I appreciate hearing that. That you know, because when somebody does hear the truth, it does take hearing it. This is where they're going to say, "Well, you're brainwashing people." because it does take repetition for all of us to be exposed to their Tiendo's thinking, to actually see more of it. I think that's uh, um, a totally true statement. You know, I could be wrong in the way I'm expressing that. Maybe it's not a very good way of expressing it, and maybe it's not right exactly. But see, I have to have that attitude that if it didn't come from Tiendo directly, then I don't. I can imagine certain combinations of things, but if I start to think that those are true, I could be getting into trouble in my mind, thinking of myself as more than I really am. You know, because that's a trap. And that's why you see people in the world thinking of themselves so much so about the way they are that they, like they said in some of the movies, you know, that you can't handle the truth. You know, that one general said that time, that guy, and and that they need it. You need somebody to make the hard decisions. Um, and so thinking of themselves as I'm the instrument of that. And who are they working for? Well, it's not for me to say, but in terms of uh, limiting ourselves to that kind of growth, I think there's other forms of growth, and one big one is at least seeking to be in the direction of the creators of this planet and the life forms on it, because it was clearly not created by humans, and we don't have evidence that the space aliens created it, even from the space aliens' mouths. To Rael in his book didn't claim to have created the planet. That means that they really are probably the fallen angels that abducted him. And so when they were choosing to use the names Satan and Lucifer in his book as the identity of the two aliens that were on that wherever that location was, uh, they called themselves Lucifer and Satan, and they were always battling against each other. I don't doubt that that's two different members of the ones that were called, you know, the fallen angel, the space alien souls that dropped away with Lucifer. And maybe one was Lucifer. That wouldn't be something that was impossible to happen in my mind. So, because souls do have a reality to them, I believe. And I can't prove that except by, um, I guess you could say it's an educated guess. No, I believe that Tiendo knew these things. And that knowledge wasn't just a memory of that. It comes with the truth comes with the knowing of it. I think I could be wrong in how I'm expressing that. And but it's all in degrees, of course. And when we if we start to think that we are, you know, like broadcasting for the next level, we're in trouble again because we're too confident in what's coming out, and we wouldn't say it in that way. We wouldn't think it in that way. It's another part of the trap that can take your mind away from into yourself and away from the next level. Now, I believe those space alien souls uh, might probably think that what they were that what I'm calling the next level and what was called the kingdom of God was actually another race like themselves because they have in their history books uh, the other races that they came from that were outside this planet before this planet existed. And so they're not, they are telling the truth about uh, being here for a long time. You know, who knows how many civilizations there have been. people from other planets that would have some equivalent with uh, the ones that we're talking about as the Luciferians, because they could be all in league with each other, and so I'm not. I don't think there's that many, but there are some big numbers in the Bible, so I don't know. What's possible in that regard. But so I got way off. Word search. Osiris says, word search in a zip file. Cool. I have to try that. Word search in a zip file. Cool.
Because you were talking about searching the transcripts.
Right, right. Sorry, I was still lingering on um, the person that was talking in the chat before that, and loser. You're welcome. Anyway, so how long were Mercodi and Sarah in the class? When did they join? I believe they joined in 1975, and and they left in 1987. So 12 years. So let's see what else am I going to talk about in this
Restraint and control.
restraint and control. Yes. So I mean, the first lesson that I got uh, is on my screen there. I think. Yeah, is because I took a job. I was having a hard time finding a job, and the name used for me in the class was Soyoti, and so I took the job without um, making a point to um, express to my potential employer, my employer, that I needed weekends off. And because T and O wanted us to have that time to where they could do things with us and be with us all times of the day, you know, at night. I mean, we didn't do things at night late anyway, but so anyway, that was the reason for that. And so I was supposed to tell them diplomatically um, to say something about how we were actually helping other people on weekends, and and, be, and I thought about that later. That wasn't a lie. We were helping other people all the time in our minds because we were transmitters for the next level's information, even though we didn't really know what that meant. But now that everything that's happened, I can see what it means. Anyway, but so um, because we did have to, not have to, but to work in the human kingdom, there's things that you do that, no, I mean, like they gave us the example of following the speed limit, that 3 miles an hour was okay, above the speed limit. But the reason for that was not to get tickets, because that's the way a next level member thinks that when they're in this environment, they don't want to be interfered with by uh, anybody that could interfere with them. Anyway, sorry.
Please.
I just get off on these stupid stories. No, some of them are stupid. because they're coming from experience with T and O in their minds, and it's certainly not stupid.
So we got what we needed at Mom's place.
Oh, good. Okay, that's nice.
Mm.
That's nice.
But I have another thing coming there, so I want to wait. Because tomorrow's Thursday.
Yeah, I don't know if I need to go through that anymore. But so anyway, though, because I had taken the job without making it clear to my employer, because the employer he harped on how they were working as a team, and you know, and I was so wanting to get the job, and it paid well, and the hours were good, and that I didn't want to lose it. Uh, so Doe said that that wasn't right to leave it that way because uh, so he said to diplomatically go there and talk about, you know, to give him the impression that there was something special about me because I was helping others on weekends, and uh, and so which I think boy the influences just attack me like crazy when I say that. Um, and so I was just like I was like held in check for a second there, a few seconds. I don't know how long passed there in my mind, trying to figure out if I wanted to say anything about any facet of it. It was seemed like it was like a lot of different voices at the same time, and it was uh, anyway. But so I did express it to my employer, and they went with it that I needed weekends off. So they were cool with it, So it didn't work. I can see. Oh, geez, it didn't work. But the next level. Wait, it wasn't dishonest that the next level was saying that we were helping people, or that Doe was giving me that to say to my future employer that we were helping people on weekends. But it looks like it is. It can look like it is to somebody that's looking at it in a not as accurate a way as looking at it, because it was true that we were helping other people. But that goes to the whole invisible world and everything, and thinking that, and we can be in an illusion about it, of course.
Your primary purpose was helping, your primary purpose was not that job.
No, a
Is what
primary
what
purpose
what
was
he said that,
right.
let the employer know that your primary purpose for being in that
Oh,
area.
good way to put it. I should have
Well,
said
that's
that
because
that
Doe
way.
said that, not me.
Yeah,
But that's what I thought that was cool.
yeah,
Your
yeah.
primary purpose in this area is, but I can't remember what he
Right, that it's not your
said.
primary task, and
Well,
that
but he
you're
said
offering special help that my wife and I do on weekends, so it needs weekends off. Uh, and there was an influence with Soyoti me that was fearing that if I made that point, I would lose the task, and that I was fighting off that influence. He said, I believe. So it doesn't matter, but to tell him diplomatically would, so uh, anyway, I'm going to move past that one. And so I already went back and got the job, though the influence had him think otherwise. But it's a procedure that was broken. Now, just let me tell you that there was no penalty for breaking procedures. Of course, if you did it over and over and over again, then people would wonder why you were there, and you might be asked to leave because they didn't need anybody that was going to be bucking the system in their minds or bodies. But you couldn't tell if somebody was bucking the system in their minds, and they didn't think of themselves as a system anyway. That's a bad choice of words, but and they knew they were teachers. They knew things humans. They knew things humans didn't know, because they were in human vehicles. They were using human vehicles. So they learned to recognize the difference between next level thinking and which they had in them because their vehicles were prepared for that to begin with. And their vehicles, Doe felt at one point, I believe he said, I don't know if he said this, who said it first because I didn't hear it personally, I don't think, that they chose vehicles that would have died otherwise in those families.
Yeah, that's in the 200s.
Hmm.
Well, in the for the that's in the first 200 years.
More water,
Listen to that.
please. So Doe was saying in this tape, in the beginning of it, that this is a tape to listen to until your ears fall off. And he never said that before. So it goes to people, like I said before, and you may have not been here for it, uh, the way that there was kinds of squabbling and things that were happening in the classroom. There were members of the class that other people didn't like for one reason or another. I don't know what the numbers were and all that. Yeah, they didn't get along with each other, and they didn't like the look on their face or whatever it was. You know, yeah, people can just get on your nerves, right? And so that triggers people to be sarcastic, or make grimacing sounds or something, whatever it was. You know, yeah,
Telling
yes.
people. And
Hmm. Overcorrecting. 'Cause we had procedures for bringing up what you believe is a suspected strike. This was an organization operation. It was done by very, 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 to the nth degree, intelligent minds, beyond our capacity of understanding, way beyond our capacity, not just a little bit. Like the difference between a dog and a human mind, but probably even a greater difference, because both humans and dogs are mammals.
I swear, the more you get plain yogurt, the more it grows on. 0 grams of sugar.
Yeah, but you don't eat that much of it every day.
So I'm like eating too much. I started eating like
So it's all right. No, babe, it's all right.
Trump is looking skinny.
Isn't he?
Yeah, his hair
They
and
said
his
that
beard
his
as
the hands
well.
were hurting. He was having problems with his hands.
I'm trying to. I don't know. I'm just saying he looks like really skinny. Apparently, he did some off address from the Oval Office. I don't know what it is. It's posted
Oh
an
yeah.
hour ago.
Okay. I don't follow them all. Yeah. Well, right. You see the spins before you see the things, and then you find out. Oh well, that wasn't true, and this was true, and this is maybe true, and this is.
Anyway, now I distract you from what you were
Yes, which is the tape. Um, and he was talking about how what he said. He took back what he had said before about there being like older students in Northcraft, and younger students in therefore in Southcraft. And he said that he wanted to erase that, erase it, erase it, erase it. It was incorrect. Uh, he feels like I think he felt like T clarified to him that that was incorrect. Uh, um, in its improper way, also, he said. Uh, but the majority of those in Northcraft have more control than those in Southcraft. More restraint, control, synonymous. Synonymous with control is restraint. And that he heard all, but he's talking about hearing a bunch of things that were indicating poor restraint and control and acting not in next level ways. And he takes it personal towards him and T, uh, um, because if we're telling them that we love them, and if you love them, then as much as you think you do, then you're going to show more control and strength. Not saying things that are petty, talking behind their backs, people's backs, and that the right kind of love can be demonstrated, and that he said I love you much that I prove to you that I act as I act and I act as I've been taught. In other words, from his older member, and he talks about there's been lost time in development. And this isn't a usual tape, by the way. This is a very different tape.
Yeah, it's not easy to listen to.
It's hard to listen to.
Especially when you and I had literally just gotten in a fight.
Yeah, right. We proved the point. We got into our own form of Scrabble, right? S- Scrap. Is that what it is?
Is that
Scrap.
what?
Scrap. There was no yelling. I was
You were
yelling
yelling. I was
only
yelling.
because I was walking away from you. I was going
Walking
towards the
away from me, and
bathroom.
then you went and
I
shut the
knew I
door.
had to talk louder.
Shut the door.
Yeah, because I had to use the restroom.
We were yelling about politics.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything serious, but that is what we fight about is politics and the lawsuit.
It's not, to me, I mean, when you're saying it's politics, but it's not as simple as politics.
No, and our upset comes from not that what we may disagree on, but that we can't communicate without getting upset with each other. I think is
Right.
what our what we need to.
Yeah. Because we both have buttons that get pushed.
And they're not our buttons, though. They're
They're
influences.
influences, right? And we,
And that's what this tape let us know. That it's our influences fighting with each other.
hmm
And we're just letting it happen.
yeah,
And we both know it's happening.
yeah.
And we just
Well, I
don't.
mean, I don't think I mean, I'm uncomfortable with it. So you can say I know it's happening, but I
Well,
don't
like
have
Joe
enough
said,
control over it
we keep doing
to
it,
get
so
ahead of it.
we must like it. We
But
must like feeling upset
yeah, I know.
because we keep doing it.
I know you would say right. I mean,
Let's
you
do it
can't.
right now.
Right, you can get into that. I guess we could settle that each one of us can't isn't going to get past having a scrap every once in a while, right? Uh,
If
um,
anybody didn't know, we live in an RV and
we're with each other, well,
well, no,
not
I
that
was just
much,
saying
but
that's why the rain sounds the way that
oh yeah, that's the rain on the roof. That's probably why I increased my volume. But my ears are also clogged up, so
I have had a
that's why I talk loud sometimes. Because I think that's normal voice that so that you can't hear me otherwise.
You can't hear me, you can't hear me.
Oh, I want to be able to be heard. Don't I want to
Yes.
be heard? Oh well, not really.
Anyway,
I mean, yeah, it's fun to talk about the next level. I'm not going to deny that. Once I get involved with it, I don't always want to do it. I definitely don't.
after listening to a tape,
Anyway,
make
I
sure
mean,
you
I
have
don't.
the chat
I'm
up
not
so you
proud
know
of
that
that.
you're not getting disconnected.
Yeah, let me see if
I
the
just
chat's
checked
still
the same
going.
thing,
Okay.
but I had that thought. They did say to expect storms. Not that this is a storm, say, but
So he wanted to get back to basics in the class of, even losing control over emotions uh, um, was something to, be gained. To ask anybody that's lived with pain, they have to learn to live with it and try not to be nasty to other people. I mean, or take sedatives or take enough painkillers or whatever they have to do to try to, not let it do you in. You okay? You okay?
yeah, I was just really cold. Sorry.
So that was saying, so anyway, I don't know if I want to go through all these notes. Uh, but there's lessons for a bunch of class members that are still in vehicles, or a few, um, from it, and some that left the class after that. Not immediately after that, but pretty soon after that. It might have been a year for one person, the way I remember it, the Cadoti. All right, so I know there were a few things that mentioned in my notes. I'm looking through them. So the instruction became that if I observe somebody, I check it out myself and do nothing until three times. So give them the benefit of the doubt and then think they don't know the instruction. So you know what's going to happen with this? No, it's not going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen the same way as it did 2,000 years ago, to where that would then be an instruction. Because what I'm doing now is like I think the disciples were taking notes. They were writing it down. You know, some of them, maybe all of them, were taking notes. I don't know, but you know how many of them had that kind of learning, and how many didn't, may not have. But so you can see where you can get a lot of things messed up. But see, that's the good benefit of having, there were probably like four assigned tasks, to different individuals to be writing things down simultaneously. Because the next level would have known that that would be the best way to give the clearest picture of what happened. And Doe says that we all have all kinds of doors open to influences, and the only way to close those doors is with lack of restraint for those doors. Is that right? Did I say that right? Oh, wait. Right. We close doors when we have a lack of restraint. In other words, when we use restraint, we are opening doors to next level mind on how to uh, have us stop and ask a question of ourselves. Say, is this really the way my older member would say it? And if the older members aren't with us right now, that would be replaced with, is this how Doe would say it? The presence room. Yeah. Partnerships working things out, going to the presence room. That's the time you needed to go get the presence of T and Doe. Right. We did have a little ritual of ritual? I wouldn't call it a ritual. Oh yeah, you didn't want it to become a ritual. Right, you were supposed to go into the presence room when you weren't feeling that great about it. Where can you get your older member's mind when your older member's not there? That's right, the presence room. I'm trying to repeat what Kathy's recalling from listening to the tape. And and so which is all, you know, so anyway, so I was just going to express what I was experiencing at that time in thinking about the presence room and use of the presence room. And it wasn't to go there to deal with any problems because I didn't think I had any problems. I was so numb to the things I was working on. I think that's the way I think about it now. Even though I had a degree of attention to things, I mean, I knew that I had to be more gentle about how I closed the doors and when, the cabinet doors so that I was, trying to control my vehicle. See, the entire, I mean, the whole thing is to learn how to control a vehicle. And the best way you can learn to control a vehicle is by being given a whole bunch of tools, I think. Um, and in real life, that becomes the tools.
The entire thing.
Well, no, it's not the entire thing. Thank you for that correction. No, because um, it was for service that we, uh, it's not for ourselves. It's not actually, it's because we recognize the older member, their, their greater mind. And we want, we would want to share that mind with other people if that's what they want us to do. If they don't want us to do that, then we wouldn't want to do that. And and the students were getting ready to have a church. They were calling it that at that point, even though it wasn't the kind of traditional anything. But or might be with actual people and there's all kinds of ways he talks about it in this at the end about how that might go. Like if people really wanted to hear about it, which might be a kind of town to town thing that might be able to happen if we can figure out some way to have an interface without. Well, we know that we have some interfaces. 'Cause the next level leaves open doors where or a window open, even if they close another one.
Yeah. What are you doing?
I was thinking about something else.
So go to the chat.
Yep. Thank you.
Nobody just wants to watch and read.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe they do want. Oh, hmm, I thought something was going on in the chat, but I had no idea that it was. Ooh, that's pretty.
I actually shouldn't have rolled it up.
Let's have it. Okay. Let's see. This one's
No, Kathy doesn't want. I am loser says, "What's Kathy's name? CTHODY." And
I don't
no,
have an Odie name.
right. Kathy doesn't
I don't.
desire to have an OD name.
I wouldn't like put it that way
No, I
necessarily,
shouldn't
but
say it that way.
I
Let you just express it.
my understanding of Odie names is that's something that was given to the class members that were with T and Doe.
That was true.
And I don't really know that there was indication that anybody that believed in them was to assign themselves Odie names. And I understand Sawyer says to, reach out to Doe and ask him what an Odie name and or even any name or me personally, it is just my personal feeling. I don't agree with that. I think that there's too much interference and that just asking, I don't know, the universe or maybe, like thinking that maybe you're asking Doe, you've got like a name that you want to call yourself or whatever that you're thinking, and something will tell you, yeah, that's it. I feel like it's a distraction and it's like we don't need to be assigning ourselves OD names. Like,
Well, I didn't say it in the right way then, I
no, I'm
guess.
not
Because
saying. I'm just that's just how I interpret some of the things that you said when people have
I'm
asked
just
you
talking
about
to
OD
some,
names.
just,
I'm just saying that's my own personal
okay.
interpretation of it. I'm not saying
Um,
that you said my interpretation. I'm just saying um I've had people like suggest OD names for me. I don't like that. Please don't do that. Not saying that anybody wants to do that, but that has happened in the past, and like
yeah, it can
I
seem
just
that,
don't think that, like, I think we need to be focusing on there are 930 something tapes to listen to. And instead of like trying to ask like what you think your OD name should be, like listen to a tape and focus on that. And then you'll realize like having an OD name is not like what we're trying to aspire to. That's my personal, extremely personal take on it.
so I'll move on to Joseph Coates says, do you have any thoughts about Trump and the Epstein files being covered up? Uh, yeah, I do. I think there's more going on there than sex. A lot more with the labs and
Mm.
potentially trying to hybridize
And it didn't just
human
stop.
beings.
It didn't just stop when he
No, it's not going to stop.
when he went away. Like it's not just like done.
And the use of
JP Morgan Chase didn't pay out
breeding,
320 something $1 million to have that just
yeah,
be done.
breeding, yeah, and also,
Something's
yeah, I mean, growing organs, you know, learning to put them together, trying to make them work together, trying to build a human vehicle, grow it
they're doing weird.
genetically, making skin to where, and a lot of it's going to be great for the people that get replacement organs and stuff if they work. They get a
But it's
little
not going to be
treatment.
great for the dude that's got 20 ears on his back. No, I'm just kidding.
And, and so they need cadavers too, They need
They
all
need
kinds of,
live people. Watch out, don't get trafficked, y'all. Like
right.
they're snatching up people left and
They
right.
are, they are. They're
Seriously
vehicle
though, I'm not that's
snatchers.
not a joking matter. People are
It's
getting
true.
snatched up.
I think it is true.
Like we were talking about, like uh doing there's so we're RVers, whatever, for whatever that means. And there's work camping jobs, which is where you get paid to work and they basically give you a space to park your RV, your fifth wheel, your trailer, whatever. And you have an electrical hookup, a water hookup, and you can dump your poo and your other water. And so there's these oil rig jobs where you're guarding the oil rigs. You're at the gate to the entrance to the site where they're oiling. They're oiling. They're drilling for oil. They're like little oil platforms and they move around. But anyway, they're in the middle of nowhere, Texas, and apparently, and this is a thing, um, that people have been being attacked and killed and robbed and whatever. It's just you're just a couple in a RV in the middle of nowhere, literally, with no security. You are the security. So I don't think that would go over too good for us to be in that situation. To where people are coming in to your home. I totally forgot why I brought that up. Shit.
Okie dokie.
No, why did
Smoky. Oh boy, we're having a good time. It's,
no,
I
but
was thinking about something else.
because
I lost track of what you were
the
saying.
Texas jobs and being in the middle of nowhere and
Yeah, yeah, the oil rig. Why are we talking about that?
yes, why did I bring that up?
All right, well, let's
I
not go
was
back to it then.
trying to make a point.
That's what I have to do all the time. You know, when I lose
Oh,
track of where I'm
yeah,
going,
I was trying to make
I
a
just
point with
maybe it'll come back. It'll come back.
what that was all
Give
about.
it, give it a little, change the topic or whatever you want to do. Because we're gonna just call
There's a
this,
lot in the chat
hanging
anyway,
out with Kathy and Sawyer.
even though I wasn't supposed to say anything.
Whatever that's worth. But so you, let's see. Yeah,
So we can move on past the Odie name thing.
yeah. Let's grown up stuff. Actually, I find that relatable. I'm currently having trouble communicating with my sister. Yeah, right. Everybody's probably got some challenge one time or another with that. Yeah, oil rigs. What the? Yeah, we've
We were talking
examined
about
going to work on oil rigs
right, and we were talking about
as a gate guard, and we found out that it wasn't a very safe or good
right.
job to have being out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, that seems like it could be something that could be good, but
Could maybe it could,
at the same time,
you know,
that
maybe sometimes it would work out. I don't know, but
I've never shot a gun. Have you?
yeah,
I've never shot a gun and I don't want to.
yeah. I shot a rifle a bunch of times.
I only want to shoot
Practice shooting.
like if I like it's the apocalypse. Otherwise, I'm not down.
I went hunting and I didn't
Yeah, I
shoot
forgot you
anything but
talking
a
about that.
grouse. I shot a grouse. Two grouse maybe in two different trees.
Remember? I mean, I don't.
And then I picked the shot out of them and cooked them and ate them.
Right, when you were much younger. You were in your 20s?
Yeah, I was about 20 something.
In 73? 72?
That was about 73 probably. Yeah. Do you have any thoughts about? Oh yeah, Trump and Epstein. Yeah, I guess I gave us. It's. I wouldn't be surprised by anything. I wouldn't.
It seems like they were close friends to whatever in
Yeah, there's a lot of things that are in common, but
so it's
people
understandable why he would.
people do not cross certain lines. You can't assume that somebody's going to cross all the lines.
But would you be friends with somebody that you knew?
Have
Like,
raped somebody that was young?
well,
If I
even
knew it, I don't know.
right, would you be
Jeez,
friends
it's a
with that
terrible
person?
thing, huh?
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean,
and
to me,
like
I don't want
Donald
to
Trump's
really.
on record as saying like Jeffrey Epstein's a great guy and we have similar taste in women. He likes or no, he likes he whatever, I
Do
don't
you
know
really want to
exactly
talk about this?
what he said, but he said like he likes like women and he likes them young. Like Donald Trump's on
Right, right,
record as saying that,
right,
and he
right,
hasn't
right.
said like I never said
Right.
that.
So that
Like
makes him automatically he's a
I'm just
pedophile,
no,
or
but I'm
these records have
saying
come out that he was doing things with. Go ahead.
that Donald Trump knew that Jeffrey Epstein liked engaging in things,
Yeah.
sexual things with young girls.
Okay. Yep.
So That
So he
is,
may be a pedophile,
I'm
or he's
not
a
saying that
proving of a
Donald Trump is
pedophile.
a pedophile. I am not saying that. I am saying that he was friends with a person that he knew was engaging in behavior
Yeah, okay.
like that. I'm not saying Donald Trump was doing that at
All
all.
right, right, all right. I won't keep
I'm
saying
saying
that.
that he was friends and he knew
Okay, you
that.
don't need to go through that again and again and again.
Okay. So then my question was, would you be friends with somebody that you knew was engaging in that kind of behavior? And Donald Trump, this is my point, that Donald Trump was knowingly friends with somebody that engaged in behavior like that.
Okay, so
For
what?
whatever that is worth.
Right. And see, you know what
That's
I
just a
think?
fact that we know about Donald
You know what
Trump
I think?
and a
That,
fact that we know about Jeffrey Epstein. Okay. I'm just saying those are the facts that we know.
yeah, I'm not saying it's not, but it's not the only way to think about it.
Well, would you be friends
I
with?
don't want to argue about this. See,
But
you
you
see
didn't
where
answer the question
it
though.
doesn't make any difference. I'm not in that circumstance. I can't tell you what I would do in that circumstance and what was true and what wasn't true, what was embellished, what wasn't embellished, what was blacked out from the documents, what wasn't blacked out
We
from the
weren't even
documents.
talking about
I
that
don't
though.
I don't even know what
We
the
were just
facts
talking
are
about
really.
one
I
simple.
don't care what the facts are. I mean, I do care about the facts. I
Well,
look for
that's
the
not a
facts
good
all the time.
statement to
I look for the
say.
truth all the time. But I'm not going to go through this with Kathy right now because this is the arguments we get into in some degrees if we bring up an opinion and she's got a hard nose, a hard head, and
So,
I've got a hard head. And so, right, laugh about it. But yeah, no, I mean, we do have to laugh about it. It is silly. It's influences. This is an example of influences pushing each other's buttons. And we just wasted all this time.
I don't think it's a waste of time. Somebody was
So now we're going to
asking the
argue about
question.
whether that was a waste of time. So,
Not. Somebody was
oh,
asking.
asking a question.
So that's what we were
But I
responding
didn't
to.
get to say what I thought.
What do you think?
I
I
already
thought
told
you
you.
had. That's what I'm saying. So you did get to say
I
what you thought.
I don't. The, the whole thing. No, I'm not. I'm not falling into that stupid trap.
What?
I'm
It's
not.
not
You're.
to ask you an
It's not you
opinion.
giving me the trap, but there is a trap of talking about certain things that can be used against you, and it's not worth it for me to do it. So I stand by what I said about it already, and that there's all kinds of things going on with all that, and it's way beyond me and my world, even in the vast world of T and Do that's above them. It's just not on my radar. Exact to actually be so upset about that. Compared to wars, where people are being killed all the time,
Well, girls
and
are being
and
potentially
and, and
killed.
setting up wars and making wars happen, and
But
then the
that's
lying and the cheating
comparing
and
apples to
the use of
oranges.
humans for in all different
No,
ways.
but that's comparing apples to oranges. That's like, you know, that's whenever we go, oh, well, my pain doesn't matter because this pain over here is
So
worse.
what are you proposing?
I'm not proposing anything.
Well, then
I'm
why
just
be
saying,
contrary
like,
about it?
I'm not I don't think we are being contrary.
Yeah,
I mean, as far as like, I'm not trying to compare like the Epstein stuff, the people that engaged in that with the people who engaged in wars. I don't think anyone is worse or
oh, isn't
more
it about
heinous
abuse of
or
people
they're all,
that are against their
yeah.
will?
But I mean, I don't think that one is any worse than that any other, that like the people
See,
that
the space aliens know that the
engaged in
humans
war
are
need to be
expendable.
more punished than the people who
And so
engaged in the
humans,
Epstein stuff. Like
I
everybody who
really don't
engages
want
in
to
stuff
get
like that
into
needs to be
this kind
punished.
of a debate online. I don't think there's any value to it unless you all in the chat are enjoying it. Maybe we could make some money. So don't.
We're not
Uh,
making
I'm gonna have to.
money.
No,
We're
I'm
not
gonna have to
making
get
any
donated
money.
money in order to just carry on this argument on the line. with you, Kathy. I feel like I said that like your daughter says it. Yeah, I look young in the Beyond Human. That's yeah. I know.
Lots
I'm
of
a little
interesting shirts in there
little
too.
piper
A lot of fun shirts you guys
piping
wore
up.
in that.
Hello, hello, hello. Uh, Joseph Coates says one thing my godfather said was, "It doesn't matter what I think or how I feel or something." Laughing out loud. It doesn't matter, right? Nothing matters. Nothing matters and nothing exists. We're all gonna go away, so why believe in anything? The nihilist viewpoint, I guess, the degree of nihilist, which is negative. It's like,
Anyway, do you want to move on to the next thing, or
yeah, when it came to his opinion or something nuanced, I suppose. Mhm. So let's see if there's anything else left here to talk about in the tape. There always is. It's something of value, I hope.
there was a lot in that tape?
So here's a lesson step that a lot of humans could apply if they wanted to. And it's like, can't imagine, like those talking about that, you can't imagine that if you saw anyone breaking an instruction, you would go to them. So if that's what he said, he was really off track. And he wanted to return to an instruction to say nothing and take the higher side and assume they weren't aware of it. So, uh, um, this is like enormous advice to people now. It's like but in a partnership, he would say, I may be wrong, but thought the instruction was so and so, and know you want to do what instructions are, so I'm bringing this to your attention. And he fully understood that if you have a defensive response to that, someone bringing that to your attention, then then it's you make a big thing of it, then the person's gonna not want to bring that to your attention again, unless they just want to, like get off on it. Like Kathy was talking about before, is liking to have that confrontation for the thrill of it, of
The influence likes it,
the influence likes it, right? But that doesn't mean that
wants to live
we're
through
not
it.
feeling that influence's mind in us at the time, literally charging us to have our the hair go on the back of our neck. If that happens, it doesn't happen to me, but or some people say that their arms, their hair gets somehow, and like you're on fire with more energy. Well, that might be literally the truth. That there might be an influence there that's got a certain amount of energy that's giving to that person at that moment. Um, and that can be said about a lot of things for all humans. I believe. Because we are instruments of mind and chemistry. Anyway, so like Melody was dealing with uh, being upset about giving notice, I think. Is that what it was? I had more reason in my mind to have difficulty with giving notice because I think she had more senior level programming positions than I ever obtained. Well, maybe I no, yeah, she definitely did because she had programmers working for her. As a leader, a project leader, and so when when you're in a company to that degree and you're getting paid more for it too, uh, you you take on their expectations, become what you want to live up to, and so you want to do for them. You want to prove to them that you were a good hire. All that stuff automatically built in there. And so to leave was like you were letting them down. And they invested in you a lot of money. Bringing you up to speed and stuff. Even though it might not have taken very long for someone like Melody, who could, you know, I don't know how long it took her to come up to speed in the different companies she worked for, and already as well. IBM as a manager of the documentation department, and for Texas Instruments, not IBM, but Texas Instruments, and Dell. They were doing stuff with that, and MBank when MBank before it was taken over, and from Melody and other companies, Hewlett Packard before it became something else. I think while Melody was there. So anyway, that's why I say that. But because I had trouble with giving notice too. But I was willing to, say whatever I needed to say so that I wasn't burning bridges because we didn't know if we would get instructions to come back and need those tasks to continue on with our lessons. And the progress that Tiendo always felt that we were needing to make towards their finishing of the task, that part of the finishing of the task. In that way, while in human vehicles. So I'm going to give you an example. I don't know if it could be used against me. But no, you know what? I'm not. Because I think it is something that it's not a big deal. It's not like I broke a law or hurt anybody.
So what's the next thing?
See, next thing is in a partnership, I would say I may be wrong, but thought the instruction was so and so. Never mind. Oh, what do you do when instruction is brought to your attention? Melody clarifies it, and then I said something about letting
Yeah,
an
Melody
influence
said something.
dominate her thinking and causing her upset, because Miss Melody was upset. And So Doe says, so she doesn't say anything. And, and Soyoti said, uh, I think agreed. Not agreed, just confirmed that he heard that. He understood it. That wasn't agreeing. And Doe said, that's correct. And then he used an example of how he would bring up things to T. I don't think he used T's name in the example, but he was referring to that T's response to him on some things that he would bring up.
Yeah, he did say T.
Well, okay, thanks. Was no response at all.
Yeah, she would ignore him.
She would just ignore him like she didn't hear him, and he wondered if she heard him.
Well, that was his clue to know that that wasn't something that he should be pursuing.
Right,
But sometimes he would just keep at her
right,
and she would say, it was actually a really good lesson.
yeah. Just to say nothing to somebody that's saying something to you that because
Because their
T would have
influence,
to defend herself.
but she wouldn't want to have to defend herself
Right. She wouldn't
because she
want to.
knew it was the influence. And
Right.
she didn't want the influence to come into her to fight with Doe's influence.
Right.
So she was trying to help him by not engaging with his influence.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if he would keep, you know, at her, then she would say, "Well, what can I say? I can't. There's nothing I can say."
Okay. So I mean, the next. Uh, but you knew there was a lot of defensiveness going on in the craft. Uh, this is where he talks about T. Uh, yeah. He says when working with T and he's troubled about something he felt he should get rid of, feeling troubled about, and not put it off on T. And if he's not able to control it and work it out, um, he would try to bring it up to T in the most right way, response. Or he'd try to bring it up to T, and T would, like we said before, act as if I said nothing. It's like she didn't hear me. And it always gave me a signal that whoops, should have examined it differently. As what can T say that wouldn't be defensive? But she didn't want to fence to defend herself and let influences come in to her to fight influence in me and help me not let influence do its thing, which Kathy talked about very well. Thank you for that. I just
I'm
was,
sorry,
feeling.
I jumped ahead, sorry.
No, you didn't. That was good. I like to see what you retained from the tapes. because sometimes I don't retain as much. So he wants Southcraft, he's talking about at that point, to reek of harmony with a refusal. And anyway, so it's not, so this is like, I mean, this seems like nothing to people, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't it? Or, but it's like the nth degree of self control when you're having restraint and when you're having that feeling that you want to engage and you stop it, and it's taking more control of the vehicle. And so I got to learn to do that. Um,
Well, it's a ongoing thing. We all have.
but then he said, yeah, yeah, we all have stuff. So, but then he talks about Pipodi a second in relationship that you can take it, the idea of having restraint and self control to not bring things to people's attention can go the other direction to where they end up being building up inside them to where they just want to get it out, and so yeah, they're still using an influence, but I guess they're getting it's a leak. It would be considered a leak of energy, you know, um, to do certain things with your energy. But I think we're built to leak. I think we're all probably leaking a lot. I mean, that life is leaking, right? So, sounds silly, right? Because the purpose, this is where, it's hard to see. We have to go philosophically and to refer to the fact that this was a path to giving your all to God, right? God being your older member, this individual that you felt like you were attracted to.
But
And,
not in a sexual
but
way.
not in a sexual way, right? Uh, and so, and if you were attracted to it, to the older member in a sexual way, then that was something to overcome and not let those thoughts in your mind is the way to overcome them and block them out and convert them into something else that though recognizing that that's a mistranslation of the love you feel for your older member potentially because it's the way that the human vehicle uh, is developed to respond.
Not saying that you're an older member, but you were, and are, I guess, still a student. And I would say that, you and I failed flunking.
You think so?
And that part of,
But why do you want to have that attitude? I mean, why is that a
well, because we're not engaging in like me- love that older members would engage with each other. That's what I'm in that context
okay?
saying.
So I've got to work tomorrow, right?
You do.
Because if we're going to talk about that publicly,
We're not going to talk about that
oh,
anymore.
okay. So I don't know why you brought it up. I have a
Well,
question
because I
about it.
feel like
I'm not being restrained. Wait a minute. Are we going to be restrained or not? Right? Or am I wrong about that? Mm. All right. Maybe we do need to talk about it, but let's do it, and we'll do it on off the air, I guess. Unless you want to have it now. I mean, it might be a value. I'm not trying to say it's not.
no, I'm not trying to have that conversation.
Okay.
I don't want to be hypocritical.
Okay. Anything else about that?
No.
Well, I'm going to say goodnight then. Well, let's see if there's anything in the chat happening. I guess there's nothing new in the chat. So I'm going to
Did you
say
have the
goodnight,
live
folks.
chat on?
Yeah. So good night, folks. Hope there's been some value to this.